Hey friends, Serena here, or just Sere, welcome back to my channel. This week has been quite an intense week, and especially this weekend. Yesterday I moved a place in London, and I want to share with you some of the insights that I got from this moving process, and especially the emotional roller coaster I went through in the past 7 days. I'm sure that a lot of you have gone through a similar process in your life, and you will know that the moving days can be quite hectic and stressful. I myself went through a few moving in the past, but for some reasons, for this one specifically, I was pretty chill. I moved to my old flat where I'm actually still recording because I was coming back to grab some last things. So I was like, okay, let's record one last video from this place. So I moved to this location 1 year ago, and I knew it would be a kind of temporary solution for me. So I did not buy so many things. I did not accumulate so much stuff. Therefore, when I had to move and organize my moving, I was quite convinced that it would be a quite pain-free moving this time. And oh boy, if I was wrong. I must admit it was okay. It was still like a manageable process. But what I realized is that I massively underestimated the amount of stuff that you can accumulate in 12 months of life, even if you don't go crazy with your buying. And also I have underestimated the overall nitty-gritty of moving place. I was so chill about this that I also decided to go on a holiday for 7 days, just a couple of weeks before the moving weekend. I was like, yeah, sure, no problem. I will just have a couple of boxes, a big luggage, and that's it. It's going to be pain-free. I was also quite fortunate because at work they give us an extra leave day if you have to move house, and my boss had to insist quite a lot to convince me to take this day off. So yesterday it was the moving day. I think I had organized it pretty well with my partner. We were both moving from separate places and we had to bring everything to one place. And until the very last minute, we were just adding bags because things were coming out. And even as of today, when we have already moved to the new flat, we're going back to our old apartments to collect final bags because there are so many things that we hadn't accounted for. So my insight number one is that you possess many more things that you can think of. So if you ever decide to go minimalist, remember this. Insight number two is things are a bit more complicated underneath the surface. In this case, the surface were, for example, the things that I could see with my eyes that I had to pack. So, the big stuff that I was using every day. Surface was also the high-level process. Okay, I have to contact like a van company, and I was very fortunate because I've done this with my partner, so we were two people taking care of the overall plan, and it was quite efficient, but we had the main steps in mind. What I was struck with were the amount of details I had not considered, and that I had to go through as I was preparing my stuff and getting ready to move. I was shocked by the amount of stuff that were popping up from any corner of my house. We also had to do a few extra organization because we were planning to collect things from two different places. So there was extra logistic we hadn't accounted for that we had to deal with the day before and the moving and yesterday. So this made me think about a lot of other projects in our life that we decide to tackle and that from a surface level seem quite manageable, but then when we start to dig into them, we realize that there are a lot of details and nitty-gritty we really have to go through to get to the finish line that can be quite frustrating, but that are absolutely necessary to get to the finish line successfully. So yeah, this is probably a metaphor that I take from my moving to life, and I shall remember the next time I move flat or I decide to do any sort of project. Insight number 3. Side note, how to give away that you are Italian, you do 3 in this way and not in this way. Can't even do that. So the insight number 3 is don't do tomorrow what you can do today or what you could have done 3 months ago. When I looked at the things I was putting in boxes at the very last minute, I was like, why on earth I didn't pack these things weeks ago when I was not doing anything particularly on a very chill evening? I could have just opened this box and put things I don't use inside so that I would have spared myself the rush of doing everything last minute the day before moving. But I'm sure I'm not alone in feeling a permanent victim of procrastination, and this situation was no exception. So this is an insight for future Sere, but it's an insight that past Sere had and that didn't make the most of. So yeah, what can I say? I am a victim of procrastination like most of the humans out there. Sometimes procrastination doesn't end up in terrible results. Like in this situation, it caused just some extra rush and stress, but it was overall manageable. In other situations, my friends, preparing in advance is absolutely the way to go. So let's be strong and remind ourselves that we shall do today what can be done today. Let's not procrastinate further. And my final insight from this moving was an insight that I got from other things I've done in my life, and it's always very helpful to remind myself of this. Take one step at a time. If I had to look at the amount of things I had to pack, and if I have now to look at the amount of boxes that I have to unpack in my new place, I will be super overwhelmed. But really, one step at a time, one box at a time, and you will get through it. So already yesterday, entering in my new house was beautiful. I was so happy. I love my new place, and I look forward to my first recording next week in the new house. But yes, like it can be stressful, but there's a finish line, and if we divide tasks into smaller pieces, it will all feel a bit more manageable and less painful. So these were my insights from this week, dealing with the roller coaster of emotions, being chill, being stressed, being overwhelmed, being, oh, you will be fine, Sere. But I'm quite happy about it. I'm tired but happy. So yeah, today I'm recording from the previous flat. I will still need to do a few trips here to take my last few items, but then I will be done. I was also being quite delusional in thinking that I could also squeeze some gym classes in my old gym just to make the most of my last week of membership, but who was I kidding? I am extremely tired, so I signed up for classes yesterday and today, and I didn't make it, but hey, tomorrow is a new day. And before wrapping up, I want to also share a little moment reflecting on this place where I lived last year. Basically, I got to this place through a series of very fortunate circumstances. I was coming back to London after a couple of years of entrepreneurship, and when I had left London back in 2022, I said to myself, I will go back to the city only when I will be able to afford living alone in a flat in London. No need to say that after 2 years of an entrepreneurial journey that ended up in a failed startup, I was nowhere close to be able to afford a flat in London. But because of fortunate circumstances, I was able to live in a house by myself in London. And this is just a reminder to me that sometimes we get the things that we desire, but just in a slightly different way than what we would have expected and what we would have hoped for. And it's quite an exciting insight to have. So if you also desire strongly something and you are obsessing on just one way to get there, maybe think a bit more creatively, because I don't know, if you believe in the universe can provide. So that's it for today. I will end up with this on this whoopee hippie note, and I look forward to next week's video from my new home. Thanks for watching, and I shall see you soon. Ciao!